Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Horn, and I am behind Feminist Noire. I have been itching to do something related to Feminist Noire. It's an idea that I've been thinking about for a long time now, since I started my PhD. And I just have so little time, in the midst of my PhD to do anything. So I just, I have no makeup on, no editors, nothing. It's just me. So I thought, let me just go old school, okay, and just turn on the camera and talk. And at least that's something. And I'm sure along the way it will get better and in terms of the tech and quality things as I have more time and more experience. But right now I just want to turn on my camera and just talk because I'm itching to talk and to say something. And the barriers right now is I don't have time, it's not glossy, it's not Instagram ready, it's not like pristine and perfect, and I just want to take the time to just talk, okay? And bear with me as I go on this journey and I try to really dig deep in the content and try to deliver, what's on my heart and what I think is important and what I just love talking about and learning about and reading about. So with that said, let me just give you a quick introduction. So my name is Anna Horn, and I'm developing Feminist Noire. I'm on Instagram, Twitter and Clubhouse with those handles. So if you want to find me, that's where you can check me out. And I'm also developing a website, www.feministnoire.com. I hope to create blog content, podcast content related to Black feminism with through the lens of Black maternal health and motherhood. And just to have a chat every now and then as well. So I want it to be a space where I can talk about things that are dear to my heart that I think are interesting that sometimes aren't allowed in other spaces or aren't, other spaces and platforms don't really give people the chance to talk about things that they think are important. So this is why I'm cultivating this space. And I'm doing this cultivating in the midst of being a mom, being a full-time PhD student, and trying to do all of the things that you do as you're trying to kickstart a career in academia. So there's a lot happening here, which is why this idea to do a blog and a podcast and all these things often take a backseat because my writing and most of the time that I have is put towards kids and family and my PhD, but I'm making space. I'm slowly making space. And so this is one time in a long time that I've had the morning to myself. I've been doing some reading, listening to podcasts, and come away with some ideas that I just need to get out there before I can kind of sit down and continue with my writing. So I just want to take some time to talk about the recent podcast with Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle has released a podcast called Archetypes. And in this, the kind of premise of the podcast is she has guests on her show, and together they debunk some of these not feminist archetypes, but archetypes of women that are often negative. So the first episode talks about ambition, and she talks about this archetype of the ambitious woman with Serena Williams. So they unearth some of the negative stereotypes of what it means to be ambitious and a woman. And they do that through their narratives of being women. And so, as my husband was taking the kids out the door, I was starting to listen to this podcast as I'm just trying to unwind and get into the flow of the work that I need to do for the day. And already, like I was just making, Oh, wow. First 10 minutes. So in the first 10 minutes, right, you have to hook your audience. And I was about 2 seconds from like ejecting, like, I don't want to listen to this anymore, throwing the phone out of the window type of thing. Because she was talking about ambition with Serena Williams. And she said, you know, particularly as a woman, and she paused. And I was like, girl, you better say it. You better say Black woman, because you cannot talk about Serena Williams and you cannot talk about um, her difficulty and portrayal by the media without also factoring in the fact that she's a Black woman. And then she said Black woman. And I was like, okay, you didn't lose me, Meghan. You almost lost me, but then she talks about the fact that she's a Black woman. And it's a brief mention, but one that I needed to continue with the podcast. So I'll say this as a whole. I enjoyed listening to the podcast. It is what I consider bubblegum feminism. It's very mainstream. It's something that's not going to rub too many people the wrong way. It is palatable for wider society. It's not as critical as I would like. It's not, it doesn't provide that critical lens on race and class as well as gender that I typically look for, and I think is very important. It's not the kind of content for people that I would normally listen to and read, who are, you know, intersectional Black feminists, you know, thinkers who would kind of, you know, really be critical of these things. But I think what I did enjoy was you know, there was a moment where Harry popped in and it was cute, seemed a bit contrived, but cute. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the kind of conversation between Serena and Meghan. And I don't want to give away too much for people who want to listen to the podcast, but what I will say is they reveal things that, you know, the public wouldn't automatically know. And I thought that was interesting to listen to. I'm not sure if I'm hooked. I'm not sure if I'm going to be a regular listener. Um, but what I will say I found most interesting was after I listened to the podcast, I was very curious about what other feminists and Black feminists were saying about the podcast and particularly the content. Because I asked myself, yes, it's bubblegum feminism, but is that a gateway for people? Is that something to get people kind of hooked into feminism and interested in thinking about it in ways that perhaps, you know, I don't know, you're thinking like that kind of more critical academic feminist writing might not be able to have that wide-reaching impact in the same way. That's, you know, in my opinion. So I go online and I just see loads of videos from media outlets, um, from kind of commentators about the podcast. But it wasn't about the content. It wasn't about its contributions or lack thereof to feminism. It was about Meghan and Meghan being a woke victim and Meghan being a social climber and how Meghan distanced herself from the royal family, but is yet benefiting from the association with the royal family. And that's what I found interesting. That's what I thought was, maybe this is where feminists and Black feminists will put their energy in trying to unpick why the hell are they giving her such a hard time? Is it because she's Black? Is it because she's a woman? Is it because she's foreign? Is it because she's an actress? You know, all of these different layers. Why is she getting treated this way by media and, quite frankly, conservative commentators in ways that other people of the royal family don't get treated? So that's what I find interesting. I'm wondering if other people would kind of pick up on that criticism and what they'll unpick through all of the noise around this podcast, because it did, from what I can gather, it debuted, #1 spot. Like, so people are interested in what she has to say. And I'm not sure if people are listening because they are has feminist ideals, or if they're listening because they want to know what Meghan Markle talks about, or if they're there for the celebrity insight, or I have no idea why people listen. Um, but it has so far seems to be doing well. And of course that comes with critique. And I do think it deserves, the content deserves criticism. As lots of content will get criticism, but I mean critical feminist kind of critique, rather than the misogynoir that is packaged, as a critique of the content, and misogynoir, that's packaged as a concern for Harry. And this woman who was predatory and you know, was preying on this victim of a man. So that stuff is interesting, that content, but I think it deserves criticism, but not in that vein. And that kind of stuff that comes out of it, the misogynoir, that's another kind of criticism that I think feminists and Black feminists will perhaps pay attention to. So, I'd love to know what you think about the podcast. Have a listen. It's, less than an hour, something that you can do while you're washing the dishes, as we, as we listen to our podcast and that sort of thing. And just love to know, what are your thoughts on the content? What are your thoughts about the criticisms of the content from other feminist lens, and kind of people who don't agree with her, and bash her? What can we learn from this? What are we unpicking from this? I have to say, like I said, that I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything new. I think the archetypes that she address and seem to address are ones that we know, ones that we've seen, and I didn't leave with any particular insights that were different. But I'm not sure that that's the aim of the podcast. I'm not sure. A lot of the times I listen to these kinds of things to help me think critically, to get my brain moving, and to help me with my work as a Black feminist anthropologist. So anything to kind of get my gears turning, I'm quite intrigued. So this didn't do that for me, but it did get my gears turning in a different way of how it was received, and how it really revealed the misogynoir that society holds, and particularly in the UK. Okay. And I think that part of it is what will keep me engaged and going back to the podcast, rather than the content itself. So I'll just wrap this up as a first video that I'm just, like I said, just turning on the camera and chatting, because right now that's what I can give, and hopefully people might find it interesting and engage, and we can continue to have these conversations. Keep an eye out for the podcast. It's something that is I'm chipping away at amongst a large amount of things that I'm working on. Hopefully, as I grow and get more time and space and energy to put into this project, that the videos will be crisp and clear, and all of those, it might not always be, I'm not an Instagram kind of savvy person, and I don't think that's not me. So I'm not going to promise that, but I might, have a bit more flashiness, maybe more glammed up. But right now, I think if I can just turn on the camera and say something, it's better than doing nothing and keeping it bottled up in my mind. So thank you so much. Watch this space. If I can just say again, keep an eye out if you're interested in Black feminist thought, if you're interested in Black maternal health, if you're interested in Black motherhood and Black women, kind of Black feminist living in general, then please subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to Instagram, Twitter, the website, all with the handle Feminist Noire. Thank you so much. And let me get on to writing. Have a good day.